Anti-cancer drugs, inhibition of the synthesis of deoxyribonucleotide or thymidylate will selectively inhibit fast-growing cells. 5. Fluorouracil is the inhibitor of thymidylate synthase. 5-fluorouracil is a thiamine analogs which serve as a successful anti-tumor agents. The drug is called a suicide inhibitor because 5-fluorouracil is metabolically converted to 5-fluorodeoxyuridine monophosphate, which become permanently bound to the inactivated thymidylate synthase. What means permanently? It means irreversible inhibition. DNA synthesis is inhibited and cell growth slowed and decrease the growth rate of cancer cell, but toxic لأنه راح يأثر على كل ال rapidly growing cell فإلى toxic side effect. This is the mechanism as anti-cancer. والtoxic effect لأنه راح يأثر على كل ال rapidly growing cell. This slide shows the simple explanation of the mechanism of action of anti-cancer drug. Methotrexate, which is structural analog with folate, inhibit dihydrofolate reductase that's responsible of conversion of dihydrofolate to tetrahydrofolate. So this tetrahydrofolate, after conversion to N5, N10 methylene tetrahydrofolate, it acts as a coenzyme and a sort of methyl group in order to convert طبعا coenzyme for thymidylate synthase enzyme to convert deoxyuridine monophosphate to deoxythymidine monophosphate. Deoxythymidine monophosphate phosphorylated twice and converted إلى deoxythymidine triphosphate, which is building block of DNA. So when we inhibit the formation or the synthesis of tetrahydrofolate, it means will decrease the supply of deoxythymidine monophosphate. يعني راح نسوي as a result راح يصير عندنا decrease بالsynthesis of DNA of all rapidly growing cell. It means the cancer cell and other normal rapidly growing cell. It is good for treatment. It's a potent drug, anti-cancer drug, بس في نفس الوقت راح يكون toxic effect على rapidly growing cell. The 5-fluorouracil, this is suicidal inhibitor. ليش suicide inhibitor؟ لأنه الميكانيزم of action مالته صح هو inhibition للثايميدين أو thymidylate synthase enzyme, but it is bound permanently to this enzyme after conversion إلى fluorodeoxyuridine monophosphate. So it inhibits this enzyme permanently, يعني irreversible inhibition. It takes time إلى أن rapidly growing cell other normal to synthesize this enzyme ويصير مرة ثانية. لكن هو potent anti-cancer drug, but also إلى toxic effect. Degradation of purine nucleotide. Degradation of dietary nucleic acid occur in the small intestine. Pancreatic enzyme hydrolyze the nucleotide to nucleoside and free bases. Purine nucleotides are sequentially degraded by specific enzyme with uric acid as the end product. يعني بالنتيجة راح تنطيني من البيورين bases ورا ما يصير البيورين نيوكليوتايد تتحلل توصل إلى الفري bases اللي هي بيورين base راح يصير لها degradation تتحول إلى uric acid. Ribonucleases and deoxyribonucleases are both enzymes secreted by pancreas to hydrolyze the RNA and DNA primarily to oligonucleotides. It means ribonuclease for RNA و deoxyribonuclease for DNA. The oligonucleotides are further hydrolyzed by pancreatic phosphodiesterase enzyme to produce a mixture of mononucleotide. Then nucleotides hydrolyzed by nucleotidase to give nucleoside and inorganic phosphate. Nucleosides undergo phosphorylysis to yield the base and deoxyribose or ribose 1-phosphate. Phosphorylysis, it means hydrolysis of nucleoside to base and sugar and addition of phosphate to the sugar moiety. Dietary purines and pyrimidine are not used to a large extent for the synthesis of tissue nucleic acid. Instead, the dietary purine are generally converted to uric acid by the intestinal mucosal cell. Most of the uric acid enters the blood and is eventually excreted in the urine. The formation of uric acid, it means degradation of purine bases. A summary of the steps in the production of uric acid. First, an amino group is removed from adenosine monophosphate, this is nucleotide, to form or to produce inosine monophosphate, also this is nucleotide. This catalyzed by the enzyme adenosine monophosphate deaminase. Or the amino group removed from adenosine, which is a nucleoside, to produce inosine, which is a nucleoside. النيتروجينيوس base هو hypoxanthine. This reaction catalyzed by adenosine deaminase enzyme. But you should be careful in which is the substrate in order to use the suitable enzyme. If the adenosine monophosphate to inosine monophosphate لازم catalyzed by adenosine monophosphate deaminase. وإذا كان لا adenosine to produce inosine فالإنزيم هو adenosine deaminase enzyme. The second step in uric acid formation is the conversion of inosine monophosphate and guanosine monophosphate, which are both nucleotides. It means composed of heterocycle nitrogenous base, pentose sugar, and phosphate, are converted into their nucleoside form. It means removal of the phosphate group from the carbon 5' of sugar moiety. So the inosine monophosphate converted to inosine. inosine هو nucleoside, hypoxanthine plus pentose sugar. Guanosine monophosphate converted to guanosine, guanosine nucleoside, guanine and pentose sugar. The enzyme catalyzed this reaction هو 5' nucleotidase. The third stage, purine nucleoside phosphorylyse, convert inosine and guanosine into their respective purine bases. It means inosine will convert it to hypoxanthine plus pentose sugar, but the pentose sugar phosphorylated. Also, the guanosine converted إلى guanine plus pentose sugar but phosphorylated. The enzyme catalyzed this reaction هو purine nucleoside phosphorylase enzyme. Then, number 4, guanine is deaminated to form xanthine by guanine deaminase. Number 5, hypoxanthine is oxidized to xanthine by xanthine oxidase and then further oxidized. It means the xanthine is further oxidized to uric acid by xanthine oxidase. Uric acid then finally excreted in the urine. This slide shows the steps of uric acid formation. First, the adenosine, which is a nucleoside. It means ribose plus adenine by adenosine deaminase, which converted إلى inosine, which is hypoxanthine and ribose. Also, it is the nucleoside. Then inosine by purine nucleoside phosphorylase lead to formation of ribose 1-phosphate and hypoxanthine. This Hypoxanthine, it is a heterocycle nitrogenous base by xanthine oxidase converted to xanthine. Then xanthine by also xanthine oxidase will convert it to uric acid. Also, guanosine, which is a nucleoside, guanine plus ribose, by purine nucleoside phosphorylase lead to formation of guanine heterocycle nitrogenous base plus ribose 1-phosphate. Then by guanine deaminase lead to formation of xanthine. Then xanthine by xanthine oxidase enzyme converted to uric acid, and then uric acid excreted in the urine. This slide shows the steps of uric acid formation. If we start with nucleotide, it means adenosine monophosphate can be converted to inosine monophosphate by adenylate deaminase enzyme. Inosine monophosphate by 5' nucleotidase converted to inosine, which is a nucleoside. Then by nucleoside phosphorylase, inosine can convert it to the hypoxanthine, which is a nitrogenous base, plus ribose 1-phosphate. This hypoxanthine can convert it to xanthine by xanthine oxidase enzyme, which then converted to uric acid also by xanthine oxidase enzyme and then excreted in urine. Also, if we start with the guanosine monophosphate, it is nucleotide, by the action of 5' nucleotidase enzyme can convert it to guanosine, which is a nucleoside. Also by nucleoside phosphorylase can convert it to guanine plus ribose 1-phosphate. الجوانين هو النيتروجينيوس base. Can convert it by guanine deaminase to xanthine, and then xanthine by xanthine oxidase can convert it to uric acid and then excreted in urine. Now we will explain briefly the disease state gout. Gout is built up and precipitation of uric acid in the joints. There are multiple causes of gout, often caused by partial deficiency of hypoxanthine guanine phosphoribosyl transferase enzyme, the main enzyme of salvage pathway. If there is no salvage pathway, means there is no place of purines to go, but only to degrade it to uric acid, so that lead to build up of uric acid. Also another cause of gout, loss of feedback inhibition of phosphoribosyl pyrophosphate synthetase enzyme, resulting in overproduction of purines and hence oversecretion. Also kidney damage resulting in reduced secretion of uric acid. Treatment: alloprenol, which is the inhibitor of xanthine oxidase enzyme that's responsible for conversion xanthine to uric acid. Alloprenol is an analog of xanthine. It means structural analog. It means the type or the mechanism هو competitive inhibitor of xanthine oxidase enzyme.